He could make stones weep and rivers pause. His music tamed wild beasts, silenced storms, and even softened the hearts of gods. But in the end, Orpheus's greatest song ended in silence, all because he looked back. This is the story of Orpheus, the greatest musician in Greek mythology, who descended into the underworld to rescue his wife, only to lose her forever and meet a tragic fate of his own. Orpheus was more than a musician. He was a son of the gods. His mother was Calliope, the muse of epic poetry, and his father was either the Thracian king Aeagrus or the god Apollo himself. From the moment he touched a lyre, the world changed. Trees bent toward him, animals gathered. Even in battle, his music brought peace. But there was only one person who made Orpheus forget the world: Eurydice, a dryad or mortal maiden, depending on the myth. Their love was deep, poetic, and short-lived. Soon after their marriage, Eurydice was bitten by a serpent and died. Orpheus was shattered. But unlike other mortals, he refused to accept fate. He chose the unthinkable. He would go to the underworld and bring her back. No mortal entered the underworld alive. But Orpheus was different. With nothing but his lyre and his voice, he passed through the shadows of Hades' realm, singing his sorrow, each note soaked in grief. Cerberus, the three-headed hound, lay still. Charon, the ferryman, gave him passage. The souls of the dead paused in their torment to listen. Even Hades and Persephone, gods of the dead, were moved by his song. For the first and only time, Hades granted mercy. Eurydice would be allowed to return to the world on one condition. Orpheus must walk ahead of her and not look back, not once, until they both reached the light. He led her through the darkness, his heart pounding with hope and fear. He couldn't hear her footsteps. She made no sound. And just before they reached the surface, just as the first light touched his face, doubt overtook him. What if she wasn't really there? What if Hades tricked him? What if he had already lost her? He turned. In that instant, Eurydice was ripped back into the shadows, fading into the dark with a final look of heartbreak. One glance, too soon, and she was gone forever. Orpheus had almost defeated death, but not quite. After that, Orpheus wandered the earth, refusing the company of others. He sang only of loss, of love undone, of a soul that couldn't be saved. He rejected all other women. Some say he even turned his heart away from the world entirely. His songs grew darker, more mournful. Eventually, he attracted the wrath of the Maenads, followers of Dionysus, wild, frenzied, and brutal. Enraged that he denied them and cursed by his sorrowful music, they tore him limb from limb, scattering his body across the land. His head and lyre floated down the river Hebrus, still singing as they drifted to the sea. The gods, moved by his devotion, placed Orpheus's lyre among the stars, the constellation Lyra. And some say his soul was reunited with Eurydice in the afterlife. But his story remains a lesson that even the greatest gifts, like music, love and courage, can't always defy fate, and that one moment of doubt can undo a lifetime of hope. He charmed the gods, braved the underworld, and almost rewrote death itself. But in the end, Orpheus's greatest tragedy wasn't losing Eurydice. It was not trusting she was still with him. Like and subscribe for more mythological legends and mysteries.